of the prophet Isaiah. For Zion's sake, I will not be silent. For Jerusalem's sake, I will not be quiet, until her vindication shines forth like the dawn, and her victory like a burning torch. Nations shall behold your vindication, and all the kings your glory. You shall be called by a new name, pronounced by the mouth of the Lord. You shall be a glorious crown in the hand of the Lord, a royal diadem held by your God. No more shall people call you forsaken, or your land desolate. But you shall be called my delight, and your land espoused. For the Lord delights in you and makes your land his spouse. As a young man marries a virgin, your builder shall marry you. And as a bridegroom rejoices in his bride, so shall your God rejoice in you. The word of the Lord.
The responsorial psalm is number 792, all the ends of the earth, number 792.
Has seen the power of God.
A reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. Brothers and sisters, there are different kinds of spiritual gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different forms of service, but the same Lord. There are different workings, but the same God, who produces all of them in everyone. To each individual, the manifestation of the Spirit is given for some benefit. To one is given through the Spirit the expression of wisdom, to another the expression of knowledge according to the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healing by the one Spirit, to another mighty deeds, to another prophecy, to another discernment of spirits, to another varieties of tongues, to another interpretation of tongues. But one and the same Spirit produces all of these, distributing them individually to each person as he wishes. The word of the Lord.
Gospel according to John. There was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the wedding. When the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, how does your concern affect me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servers, "Do whatever he tells you." Now there were 6 stone water jars there for Jewish ceremonial washings, each holding 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus told them, "Fill the jars of water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Draw some out now and take it to the head waiter." So they took it. And when the head waiter tasted the water that had become wine, without knowing where it came from, although the servers who had drawn the water knew, the head waiter called the bridegroom and said, "Everyone serves good wine first, and then when people have drunk freely, an inferior one, but you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this as the beginning of his signs at Cana in Galilee, and so revealed his glory, and his disciples began to believe in him. The Gospel of the Lord. Throughout the Gospels, the sorrows of the cross were followed by glories of the resurrection. Suffering was followed by relief. Those who ran out of wine were filled to overflowing. The counterpoint of sorrow and joy in the life of our blessed Lord was first found in his first miracle at Cana in Galilee at a wedding. In the Old Testament, the relationship between God and his people Israel was likened to the relationship between a bridegroom and his bride. And in the New Testament, our blessed Lord used the same relationship to describe himself and the new Israel, which he was going to found. Christ would be the bridegroom, and the church would be his bride. And St. Paul confirmed this relationship when he wrote to the Ephesians, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loves the church and gave himself up for her." Since our blessed Lord came to establish the union of husband and wife between himself and the church, it was fitting that he should perform his first miracle at a wedding. By the second chapter of John's Gospel, where the wedding feast at Cana is recorded, our blessed Lord had already been confirmed as the Lamb of God in the River Jordan, and he had also chosen 5 of his 12 apostles from among the followers of John the Baptist. They were John the Evangelist, Andrew, Peter, Philip, and Nathanael, all of whom our blessed Lord brought to the wedding feast. I always chuckle to myself when I read the story of the wedding feast at Cana, in that John tells us that the apostles were invited, and in the very next verse he says they ran out of wine. So I'm thinking to myself, the apostles must drink at weddings the way my uncles drink at weddings. It is also noted that this is the only occasion in the life of our blessed Lord where Mary is mentioned before her son. Why? Because Mary would be the intercessor of his first miracle, just as Mary's name would be invoked as the intercessor for a long procession of miracles that would follow for ages to come. So, as mentioned earlier, John the Evangelist was one of the apostles at the wedding. As an ear and eye witness to Mary at Cana, and as an ear and eye witness to Mary at the foot of the cross, John is the only gospel writer who faithfully recorded these two events. It was Mary, always with an eye out for the needs of others, who, in perfect prayer and completely confident in her son, said, "They have no wine." And Mary, the mother of us all, the universal mother, the mother of every person in every age and in every time, gives the most perfect advice. Do whatever he tells you. Only 7 times has Mary spoken in the Scriptures, twice at the Annunciation, twice at the Visitation, once at the binding of the child Jesus in the temple, and twice here at the wedding feast at Cana. And after those words of advice, do whatever he tells you, she never speaks again in the Scriptures. What a magnificent valedictory. What followed was our blessed Lord producing the best wine, which was kept till last. Eventually, someday, every single person in this church will run out of wine. Whether it be your marriage, my priesthood, your health, your parents, your brothers and sisters, your children, your job, your whatever, someday the wine will run out. And sometimes you're running out of wine and you don't even realize it. I'll use myself as an example. Before my depression hit full force, I remember a time when I would be crying for no reason. I had never been depressed before, so I didn't even know that a depression was coming on. So yes, sometimes you're running out of wine and you don't really know it, but eventually, when the wine runs out, you know it. You know it because there's no money in the bank, there's nowhere to turn, there's no other options, there is no hope, and you know there is no wine. As a priest, as a man of faith, I have come to believe, after more than once going through periods when I ran out of wine, and after sitting in my office with so many others who have run out of wine, that there is always one option left. And that option follows the example of our Blessed Mother in today's Gospel, who went to Jesus to say they had no wine. In our case, Lord, I have no wine. As people of faith, following the example of our Blessed Mother, who went to her Son, the one option left to find the wine that is needed is to follow Mary's advice and do whatever her Son tells you. Rarely is that option a quick fix. Sometimes it is, but always, after going to our Blessed Lord and admitting we have no wine, and always following the advice of our Blessed Mother and doing whatever it is He tells you, we receive the grace. How many examples are there in the Scriptures? The wedding feast at Cana, where they ran out of wine. The Samaritan woman who at the well, whose life was a lifestyle proof in and of itself that she had run out of wine a long time ago. The prodigal son who squandered and eventually ran out of money. Zacchaeus, whose conscience eventually got the best of him. The foolish virgins who ran out of oil. The fig tree which ran out of fruit. John the Baptist who ran out of hope. The centurion who ran out of options. The hemorrhaging woman who ran out of doctors and money and options. James and John who ran out of patience. All of them ran out of wine, came to our Lord, followed Mary's advice, did what Jesus told them, and were given the grace. Why would it be any different for us?